Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to take you through 5 dinners that we had over the past couple of weeks. And I'm sorry if the beginning portion of this video, the video itself and the audio seems a little off. I was having technical difficulties with uploading and had to do some weird filming from my laptop. So bear with me, but I hope you enjoy these meals. Let's get into the video. Okay, so I wanted to quickly start out this video by talking about HelloFresh. It's a food subscription box. I've been getting this off and on for several years now and really enjoy it. It helps just give me different ideas, things to make for dinner, so I don't always get in a rut and make the same things over and over. And you can choose all kinds of different options, like a healthy and fit option, low carb, or regular, whatever you want to do. You can skip your meals week to week. It's a really great option. So I'm just showing you the box of how this comes with the recipe cards, and all the meals are in these bags, and then underneath the bags is the meat itself, and it's kept in dry ice. So it's a great option. This is not a sponsored video, but I do have a code down below for you, which will give you $120 off if you sign up, which is the biggest discount that I've ever seen them do. So highly recommend it. I'll put that link down below. And now we're going to get into the first meal that I made from HelloFresh for my dinner this week. Was Italian chicken and pepper sandwiches. These, oh my gosh, these were so good. I actually would really like to get this meal again, and I probably will sometime. So I just started out with my vegetables. I got them all chopped up. They gave me an onion. So this all came with it, the onion, the green pepper, and the potato wedges. And basically you only need a few little ingredients yourself, like oils and like salt and pepper and stuff. They don't send that, but everything else they send to you. So here's just an overview of everything that came with it. So I'm going to take you through how I made this meal. So I'm just going to start out with my potato wedges here. Now it just says to use salt, pepper, and some oil, but I did use some olive oil, and I use this McCormick Montreal steak seasoning. I love when I make my own steak fries at home to use this seasoning. It's so good. And so I just gave that a good mix. And then I actually put my potatoes in my air fryer, which they came out perfectly crisp and just how I wanted them. The recipe does tell you to bake them. So if you don't have an air fryer, or if you prefer to put them in your oven, it will walk you through, I think it's 20 to 25 minutes, and it'll tell you the temperature and everything. But I just did mine in the air fryer. The next part of this process, I started on my little sauce. So they gave me mayonnaise, sour cream. It says half the garlic powder. I could not find my garlic powder in here. I don't know if I misplaced it or accidentally left it in the box and threw it away, but I use my own garlic powder. It's fine. And then seasoned with salt and pepper. So I did quickly get that together, give that a good mix, and just set that aside. And then the next thing, I'm going to start cooking my onions and green peppers. So I did just put some olive oil in the bottom of my cast iron skillet, and I'm going to get those softened and lightly browned, 5 to 7 minutes, or however long it takes you to soften yours, and then season those with salt and pepper. And then once that's done, I turned off the heat, and I'm going to transfer those to a plate. And while the vegetables were cooking, I did take my bread, the hoagie buns that they gave me, and I put 2 tablespoons of butter, garlic powder, and just spread that over the bread. And then I did put this in the oven. I put it on broil just to get this toasted up nicely, and let that go for a few minutes so I got it to the toastiness that I wanted. And then while that was going on, I did get my chicken prepared. I seasoned it with salt and pepper and put some more oil in the same pan that I had cooked my vegetables in, and I just added that chicken in and tried to cook that mostly all the way through and get it browned. And then I took my stock concentrate that they gave me and added 2 tablespoons of water, a little more salt and pepper, and then I returned all the cooked chicken and vegetables to the pan and stirred all that up to combine, and kind of let that, I didn't want it to be really runny, and let that thicken up a little bit, which took no time at all, and then just turned off the heat. And then finally, it was time to assemble this delicious meal. And at this time too, my fries were done from my air fryer. They were perfectly crisp. So I just took my hoagie bun and I topped it with some of the garlic sauce on the top and the bottom. And then I put as much of the chicken and vegetable mixture that I wanted, and then I sprinkled the mozzarella cheese on top of all of that, which of course they sent in the meal. And then it did say you could return this to the oven rack. If you want to melt this down, you know, put it under broil for a couple of minutes to let that melt down. I don't even think I messed with that. It was hot enough. The chicken and vegetables were hot enough that cheese melted quite easily. So, and then I just added my potato wedges to my plate. And you guys, this meal, it might have been one of my favorite meals of the week, honestly. It was so delicious. This next meal I kept extremely simple. I'm just cooking up some chicken pot stickers, and these items I got in my last grocery haul. I'll link that video down below if you didn't see it. So I got pot stickers and some egg rolls and some General Tso's chicken that I had purchased, and I just threw all of those in my air fryer, obviously not all together at different times, and just cooked those up and had some soy sauce on the side. It was simple, quick, and delicious. So this is my last HelloFresh meal that I'm making. It's a Rosemary DemiGlace pork chops. It has mashed potatoes, roasted carrots, and onions. So here are all of my ingredients set out and ready to go. The first thing I'm going to do is I peeled up my potatoes and got those boiling in water so I could get that step done first, since, you know, mashed potatoes take a little while to get ready. Then, as you can see over here, I have my carrots and onions already chopped up. I was actually supposed to save a little bit of that onion, like a tablespoon, and mince it, but I didn't read that until later, but it's okay. I made it work. I am putting my carrots and onions in, of course, my air fryer basket that I'm obsessed with. It does tell you in this recipe to bake them, but I just love the way that air fryer cooks pretty much everything, but vegetables especially. I added on olive oil, salt, and pepper. That's all it said to add. But of course, I'm also adding in my Mrs. Dash seasoning because I add that into everything. And I'm just going to let that go in my air fryer while I move on to the next step. So the next thing that I'm doing here is just chopping up my rosemary that they gave me. And it was at this point that I realized I was supposed to save out some onion, but I did pull out a little bit of red onion from my refrigerator that I had sitting in there I needed to use up anyways. So I got both of those chopped up and ready to go in the skillet after I get my pork chops going. So now I'm ready for the pork chops. I just simply am patting these dry, getting the extra moisture and liquid off of them, and then I'm going to salt and pepper them. And then I'm going to add some olive oil to my skillet and let those try to get them good and seared on both sides and let them cook through. Now I actually ended up finishing these off in my, you guessed it, air fryer, just because I wanted to make sure my pork was done, and it actually cooked them perfectly. Meanwhile, once my potatoes were done, I simply added in some butter and the sour cream that they gave me. I didn't add any other liquid in, and I could not find my actual potato masher, which is why I'm using my meat masher, but it's fine. It worked out. I just salt and peppered these, added in the butter and sour cream, got these mashed up and ready to go. Now at this point, I had already taken out my pork chops and, like I said, transferred those to the air fryer. I just added in that chopped up tablespoon of onion and chopped up rosemary to a little bit more oil in the same pan that I cooked the pork chops in, and I'm going to let those onions get a little bit softened. Once the onions and rosemary cooked up, I added in this chicken base, I think it was, I can't remember, chicken glaze that they gave me, plus a 1/4 cup of water, and I'm going to let that simmer for about 3 to 4 minutes and kind of thicken up a little bit. And then at the very last for this, I will add in a tablespoon of butter after I turn off the heat, and then everything should be ready to go, and we will plate this all up. And just like all of the HelloFresh meals that I've received, this turned out so good. The glaze on top of the pork chops, I did let my pork chop rest a little bit before I cut it. The glaze with the rosemary, oh my gosh, it just made it with the vegetables and the potatoes. It was perfect, you guys. I highly recommend HelloFresh to you if you haven't yet tried it. Now, this next dinner that I made was really easy and so delicious. So as you see, I've got some corn on the cob here that I shucked, and I've just got this down in water. I'm going to get this going on the stove. The other side that I'm serving with this is super simple. It's broccoli cheddar, rice, and roni, so I'm just going to get that going in my pan. So the next thing I have, if you'll remember from my last grocery haul, I got these beautiful vegetable kebabs. I had 2 of them left, and I had some steak. So I decided To actually get this all going in my air fryer, you'll see that I ended up cutting up my steak into chunks with the vegetables. Of course, right here, I'm just showing you that I'm doing the next step on my rice-a-roni. I had to toast the rice up first, and now I'm adding in my sauce and water. We're going to let that come to a boil and then turn that down. Just let that simmer for like 10 to 15 minutes till the rice is done. So you can see here that I've got the steak, or excuse me, the vegetables. I put some olive oil and, surprise, Mrs. Dash seasoning all over it. I mixed that all up well and got that ready to go into the air fryer. And then for my steak, I'm just putting on some Worcestershire sauce and some McCormick steak seasoning, keeping it very simple but delicious. I'm going to season that up well, and then I ended up cutting these into cubes so it would all fit nicely into the air fryer. Actually, I believe I ended up doing the vegetables first because they didn't take very long, and then I did the steak right after those. Yes, here are my vegetables. I actually mixed those up nicely in a bowl. And then just put them in my air fryer. And I did them separately because I have a little small 2-quart air fryer. You know, I can't fit a ton of stuff in there at once. So I did the vegetables. I don't even think they took 10 minutes, probably not. And they were perfectly done. And then after that, I added in my steak. And here is my final plate, you guys. This meal was so good. So simple, but just using what I had in the refrigerator with those fresh vegetables on the side, it just really made it. Really enjoyed this one. Last but certainly not least is my zuppa toscana. I probably make this once or twice a month during the colder months. I absolutely love it. So those are just some of the main ingredients that we have on hand are the red potatoes, the onion, doesn't matter what kind. And I love using the hot Italian sausage. Of course, you could just use the regular sweet if you don't want all that heat. I just chopped up my onion, put some olive oil in the bottom of my Dutch oven, and I'm just going to let that onion start to get good and softened. Next, I'm going to add in my sausage, and which you could see I've already done. I cooked that sausage through, and then I'm adding in my seasonings. This is Italian seasoning. I'll put the recipe down below, and actually I think I've made a video on this soup already, so I'll link that video. I put some hot chili flakes in there, so I'm going to give that a stir and let that go for a minute or two. And then the next thing I'm going to add is some minced garlic. Let that go for about a minute or so. And then I'm going to add in some chicken broth, and I'm actually using my Better Than bouillon because I didn't have any actual broth on hand. This is a great option if you are out of your broths to have something like this readily available. I believe it was 8 cups that I added in. Once the chicken broth has been added in, it's time to add in all of your potatoes, and you're going to let that cook, simmer at least for 10 minutes or until the potatoes become soft. At this point, we are ready to add in our kale, and I also use coconut milk. This is a Whole30 approved recipe. The coconut milk tastes so good. It does not make it taste like coconut. It's a great dairy-free option. If you don't want to use that, you're going to let that go for about 5 minutes, and then your soup will be ready to serve. If you guys have never made this zuppa toscana recipe, you have got to try this. I'm telling you, it is one of the best and one of my absolute favorite soups of all time. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it for you. Hope it gave you some great dinner ideas, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.